What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of the Yankees Avenue Show on the Yankees Avenue YouTube channel. I'm Patrick Hennessy. That's Dan Rourke. How are we doing today, Dan?
Bro, I'm doing good. We're not going to go too long into what the show's all about, but basically, this is the new face of the Yankees Avenue YouTube channel. I couldn't be happy to be doing it with my boy. For those who don't know, this is Patrick Hennessy, my day one dog, going back from unhinged Yankees to now we've just been friends for like 5 or so years. Big Yankee fan. And what this is going to be, for some of you who may be familiar with baseball today on the John Boy Media Baseball channel, it's kind of like that 20 to 25 minutes, crisp Yankees talk, 5 topics. And yeah, dude, 2 times a week, Mondays and Fridays. I'm ready to roll.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good. I say we just jump right into it, right?
Might as well, bro.
So you know what, Dan, the Yankees played today. Wrapping up the series against Toronto Blue Jays. I think it's safe to say they haven't been good lately. There's kind of like no sugarcoating it. However, they did steal the final game of the series today. They now have an 8-game lead in the division. I'm gonna be honest with you, it feels a lot less than that. So listen, looking at the Yankees right now, how confident are you that they're still gonna win the division? Because it looked like the lock a couple months ago and started fading a little bit, and now 8 games back with like a month and change to go. How you feeling?
First of all, I want to say winning, although we did lose 3 out of 4, winning the series finale, salvaging that final game was low-key really important because to me, just from looking at it in the standings, 6 games compared to 8 games is a huge difference. So you win Sunday, and what do we have? 5 weeks of baseball left. I think we have one more series against Toronto and another one against Tampa Bay, if I'm not mistaken. Time is on our side. That's the good thing going for us. What we don't have going for us is obviously, we haven't been playing well lately. I'm not just saying this because I did claim the division was over 2 months ago, and many people called it a premature acclaim. The Yankees are still winning the division, although I will say I'm much more nervous about it now than I was, a couple of weeks ago or even a week ago. My line of demarcation is the 7-game mark. So when it's above 7 games and we have an 8-game lead, I'm confident, which I currently am. If it gets lower than 7 games, that's when I'll be nervous. But as of right now, 5 weeks of baseball left, 8-game lead, the odds still are kind of in our favor. That's the way I
How you
feel.
feeling out of 10? With 10 being oh, I'm so nervous, I can't watch anymore.
I'm a 5. I'm a 5.
Okay.
Yesterday I was around a 6 or 7. Now it's back down to a 5. And here's the thing, very quickly, bro, it can get back to, all right, we play well for a week. All of a sudden, we could have a 10-game lead and then we're feeling really good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
no, for sure.
It's still a little too early to panic the way I'm seeing it.
I'm kind of I'm feeling the same way as you, right? And I think it's kind of weird because it's a little bit of recency bias. We know I'm the king of recency bias. Because if the Yankees would have lost today, I would walk on here and I tell you I'm an 8 out of 10, right? Just because for the sole purpose of 6 games back looks a lot worse than 8 games back, at least in my warped mental state, right? So yeah. I'm looking at the Yankees right now and I see the number 8 and it's a cute looking number and I'm feeling pretty confident. Now, however, if they lose 3 straight, the Blue Jays win 3 straight, and that goes down to 5, bang, my panic meter is up to a 9 or a 10. So I think this is something that goes day by day. But if I had to pick an answer right now, is do I think the Yankees are going to win the division? Yeah.
Same.
I can't see them continue falling off the face of the earth this hard through the month of September. I just can't.
Dude, no, absolutely. And this is something I was just saying to my boy earlier. The Yankees playing so bad lately almost has me excited for what's to come because it can't continue this bad. At the very least, they're not going to be a 3-15 team or whatever they've been over the last 2 to 3 weeks. It can't be this bad. Yeah. There will be some sort of market correction. Not saying they're going to go back to playing 700 ball, but you figure at the very least, I am still expecting 500 baseball. And if you play 500 baseball with an 8-game lead, chances are we're going to be just fine unless, Toronto or Tampa Bay goes on a crazy run.
Yeah.
Get Stanton back, Carpenter back, Sevy back, get healthy, play half decent in the meantime, win the division. I'll be feeling good going into October.
Yeah, and I think that's the only thing, though, right? It's we look at other teams like the Dodgers, for example, right? And they have a 16-game lead or whatever. That's who we were expecting to be at this point. Now that's kind of fading away. We're getting a little nervous, and reasonably so.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously because you go from having a 15-game lead down to 8. That's where people start panicking. But if you were to, and I know this is cliche as hell, everything's relative and expectations are reset once you start playing well. But if you told Yankee fans August 21st, we have an 8-game lead for first place in the AL East, everybody would have signed up for that. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it for right now.
Yeah. Well, listen, speaking of the Blue Jay series, our ace, I'm still calling him our ace, bro. I don't care what anybody else says. Gerrit Cole, he's coming off a 4 earned run outing. It's been an up and down season for Gerrit Cole. It's been an up and down last couple of seasons for Gerrit Cole, I guess you could say. Now, overall for the season, he's 9-6. He has a 3.41 ERA. That's over 25 starts. Dan, I guess like you open Twitter on any given Gerrit Cole start day, right? And I feel like Yankee fans are like so flip-floppity. Is that a word? Flip-floppity when it comes to Gerrit
Yeah.
Cole. It's like, yo, you have the people who are like, I hate Gerrit Cole, like he's the biggest waste of money in Major League Baseball. And then you also have the people who are like, yo, he's my ace in a postseason game, like regardless of how he performs against the Blue Jays in the middle of August, right? How are we feeling about Gerrit Cole's? I kind of want to go past just this season. Like, how are we feeling about like his tenure as a Yankee so far? Because the expectations were insane coming into it. Do we think he's like lived up to those thus far?
So here's the way I feel about Gerrit Cole. And I'm one of his biggest defenders. Anybody who follows me on Twitter knows that. I will say I am disappointed with what we've gotten from Gerrit Cole since signing him to the $324 million deal. I'm disappointed, but I will say I don't regret the contract. So I'm disappointed, but I would do it again. And the reason is going into October, I'm still really confident in him. And I too call him the ace still. Like, I feel like there is something about, Nestor is having the better season, no doubt. And maybe I am more confident in him, but I still look at Cole and I see it. I'm like, that is our ace. If we go into a playoff game with Gerrit Cole on the bump, I still feel very confident despite what happened last October. And, some people do forget, a lot of people forget how good he was in the 2020 postseason. They just assume he can't pitch in the playoff because of one bad game in Houston or in
where he was hurt.
Boston, where he had the hurt hamstring, right? So, yeah, that doesn't do anything for me. I still think, despite having, an up and down tenured Yankee, which still is really, really good. I mean, if you look at his 3 years as a Yankee so far, he's 32-17 with a 3.22 ERA. That's really, really good. So I'm still really confident about him going into a playoff start, but that's just me.
Yeah. But my thing is, though, like, I could maybe understand why someone wouldn't be, but I can't really like relate. Yeah, I feel like that's a good way of putting it. Like, I can understand, but I don't relate. Because listen, I'm gonna be honest. Like, if we had to play like a do or die game, in a postseason atmosphere, I'm still calling on Gerrit Cole. Like, he's still my guy at the end of the day. And I think the contract aside, I hate when people bring up like contracts and stuff when it comes to performance. I get it, but I still wouldn't go Nestor over Cole. Like that just wouldn't be my move. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, Nestor's having a great season. He's just not my ace. And when I look at like Gerrit Cole's tenure as a Yankee so far, I think it's safe to say that it's been a little disappointing, but that's only because of the standards that were set for him coming in, right? We thought we were getting like Houston Astros Gerrit Cole. We were hopeful that we were going to get that. I think realistically, like, we kind of knew there was going to be some sort of regression, but I think what we've gotten from him is still better than anything we could have gotten elsewhere, if that makes sense. It's like, I can't really think of like a pitcher I would have rather had at the time, because let's just be honest. The Yankees had no choice but to get Gerrit Cole. Like, he was their guy. There really wasn't like, dude, everyone wanted him. So it's like, it's at the point where it's like, he hasn't pitched bad. He's had a few struggles here and there. He had the injury last year, whatever. But at the end of the day, Gerrit Cole's still the ace of the New York Yankees. And I'm going to ride and die with him, though.
Yeah. Here's the thing. The main disadvantage that he'll always have going against him in terms of like winning fans over or not, it's all going to be that line of demarcation from pre-spider tack, post-spider tack. And
so dumb.
It depends which way you want to look at it, though, because no matter what, you cannot dispute Gerrit Cole has been a very good pitcher since the spider tack crackdown. Spider tack crackdown. It's been a very good pitcher since then. He definitely has taken a step back, though. Because he was Houston Gerrit Cole the first 2020. I'd say he was Houston Gerrit Cole. First 2 months of 2021, he was Houston Gerrit Cole. Since then, he's been around, I think he's around like a 3.3 ERA since then. He's had multiple dominant outings. Had great outings this year. Had that game in Houston complete game. So we've seen how good of a pitcher he can still be without spider tack. And yeah, I think $324 million is maybe worth that. I'm not so sure, but do I regret giving it to him? No, definitely not.
I still love him, bro. Like,
I love him. And how about today? How about today, when Judge got hit by Manoah? We're recording this on Sunday. Judge got hit by Manoah. The first guy out is Gerrit Cole. You see his post-game interview, bro. He was still pissed afterwards. I love him. He's a Yankee. Like, I look at him and I'm like, you absolutely represent my pitching staff, and I love that.
Is it because he's clean shaven?
He did get a haircut recently. Did you notice that? He definitely.
I did.
He got rid of this. He got rid of this, bro. He's trying to tell us something. You still got long hair back there or not? You
Yeah,
still
of
have long hair?
course, dude.
Yeah.
Look at that. You can't really see it because it blends
You
in, but
kind of
yeah.
look like Gerrit Cole. You got to shave, dude. You a Yankee fan or
I'm not
not?
shaving,
We don't
bro.
we
I'm
don't
not.
we do mustaches only.
That's a topic for another day. That's a topic for a whole episode. The
Word.
facial hair
That
policy.
might be a question 5 one day.
Okay, cool. So I mean, listen, we're talking about Gerrit Cole, right? We're kind of talking about guys who living up to contracts and whatnot. There's another guy on the Yankees who has a pretty damn big contract and got criticized in like the first couple seasons for having a big contract, not really performing. Giancarlo Stanton, Dan. I would say prior to the injury, he was having a really good 2022 season, right? He was an all-star. Just I feel like he was just that guy, right? Yankees needed clutch hit. He was coming in. It's kind of been him for the last couple of years, but he's been out. However, Dan, he should be back by the Oakland series, which is coming up next week, early mid next week. Now, I think a lot of people are unrealistically looking at Giancarlo Stanton to kind of like walk into the lineup and kind of just be the savior of this offense. How are you feeling about that? Do you think he will be the savior? Do you think he's going to revive this team in the way people think he will?
Yes, I do. And the reason for that is I'm choosing to because it's simply he has to be, and that's not putting an insane amount of pressure on him in particular, because it doesn't just come down to Giancarlo Stanton's like individual impacts offensively, like his stats, right? It just the lineup, dude, is so different when he's in the cleanup spot compared to, I mean, to put it into perspective, bro. Recently, the Yankees have they had batting cleanup a lot lately? Josh Donaldson.
Yeah.
Stanton is in the lineup. He's batting cleanup. Josh Johnson's not even in the lineup, period. So like that, I feel like to me, that puts in perspective how much we're missing him. But yeah, I mean, he's going to have the IL rust the first week or so. So like, there'll definitely be people that will right away when the Yankees lose a game, when he comes back and he goes over 4 strikers, like, oh, I told you Stanton wouldn't save the offense. There's going to be IL rust. That's no doubt about it. But long-term going into October, if Stanton weren't coming back, I don't think I would be able to find a way to have faith with his team. But because he is, and he's going to have a lot of time to ramp up, I mean, yeah, if he's coming back, Oakland series is Thursday, that's a full month's worth of at-bats to find his stroke. And Stan was having a good year. He's having a really good year. Kind of got banged up with whatever that first, what was that first injury he had? I don't remember what it was. It was whatever it was.
Was it the calf?
It might have been. He came back, struggled, so his overall season stats aren't great. I mean, he's hitting 229, on base down to 309, but slugging 498, 807 OPS, has 24 homers in just 80 games. So the dude was pretty much on like an over 45 homer pace. Dude, it's
a
getting
shame.
getting Stanton back is going to be huge, and we kind of have to rely on it because what other choices do we have with this offense?
Yeah, and listen, like I'm kind of in the same boat as you. Like now, I don't know if he's gonna be like the savior because we kind of viewed like other guys coming in as like the savior too. However, I think he's definitely gonna be a help. Like we can't sit here and be like, yo, Stan coming back isn't gonna do anything. I think like you said, just his presence in the lineup is key. You know what it reminds me of? Just Stan's presence in the lineup, 2019 ALCS. Remember?
Absolutely.
When once Stanton went down and the Yankees had to throw Cameron Maybin in the lineup over him, bro. That's deflating, bro.
Yeah.
And it's a mental aspect of it too, right? An opposing pitcher is like preparing to face the lineup for the day. And dude, don't get me wrong, Cameron Maybin had a great 2019 season. However, it's like when you read names on the paper, if Alek Manoah is getting ready to face the Yankees today, who do you think he's like more scared about facing? Aaron Hicks or Giancarlo Stanton, bro?
Yeah.
It's just his presence in that lineup, just it's everything that goes into it. So obviously Stan's going to be a huge force coming back to the lineup.
Absolutely. And I brought up Donaldson before. You could fill in that same example with Gleyber Torres. I mean, you look at the construction of the lineup, it's mostly been Judge to Rizzo, and then behind him either Donaldson or Gleyber. Rizzo's been struggling big time too. You don't think that once Stanton comes back, the impact will be huge on Rizzo as well in terms of getting pitches to hit? So like we said, like what we're saying is, yeah, it's not just about Stanton's individual performance, saving the team or whatever. He's just a very big piece to the puzzle, which is like the 2022 Yankees offense.
But the thing is, he can also save the team. Like he did it last year.
No,
bro.
he absolutely can.
That's
that's very exciting as well. He can come back and just go on a torrid streak, have one of the best months of all time. It's literally possible. And yeah, the next thing you know, we're back to 100.
Bro,
wins.
This would be the third straight year. 2020, he did it in the postseason. Last year, he did it just to bring us to the postseason. Stan, I'm banking on you. Now I'm excited. Now I'm really excited.
Give him credit to being like one of the only guys to perform and have like a 3-hit night in the actual wild card game too.
So. Yeah, more than Judge, right?
Dude's a ball.
So moving on. Speaking of acquisitions, speaking of people coming into the lineup, coming into the Yankees made some deadline acquisitions, right? Deadline acquisitions that I were doubtful were even going to happen. I think that we left the trade deadline feeling really, really good, right? The Yankees acquired probably about like 4 big names that I guess we thought would improve the team substantially. Haven't necessarily seen it so far, but I'm talking about Andrew Benintendi in the outfield, Scott Efros and Lou Trevino for the bullpen, and then Frankie Montas for the rotation. Dan, I guess we could maybe like rank these 4 guys to kind of like see like who we think has been the best and who we think has been like the bottom tier as far as like the trade deadline acquisitions.
Right. Yeah. So first of all, disclaimer. I mean, we have another 5 weeks left in the season. If we do this a month from now, it'll probably look totally different, or it could look
Yeah.
totally different. So I'll start off from worst to best, and I think the obvious one, worst, would be Frankie Montas. Now, he did have one pretty solid start, the one he had in Boston on Sunday Night Baseball, 6 innings or 5 innings, 2 runs, I believe is what he was at on a pitch count.
Yeah.
First start was bad. Last start against Toronto, not good, but he did go 6 innings. No doubt about it. I mean, he's going to be the worst so far, but that doesn't mean I don't have confidence in him going forward. Next, Andrew Benintendi, big homer today, but he is going to be second to last because overall, 211, 322, 368 slash line, 690 OPS. Was nice to see him go deep today. He plays good defense. So, I still am everybody in this list, I still have a lot of good feelings about the 2022 trade deadline, despite even some poor performances so far. But then you get to the next 2, both of who have been pretty damn solid, and that's Lou Trevino and Scott Efros. I was torn going into this who would be number 1. And when I woke up today, I probably would have just guessed Efros. Dude, I didn't realize how good Trevino has been for us. That's why he's going to be number 1 for me. 9 innings, 7 hits, 2 earned runs. It's a 1.0 ERA. Scott Efros been really good too. 3.24 ERA and 8 1/3. I mean, reliever ERA doesn't really matter, but those 2 I think we both can agree on. Have been really good. So yeah, my list is going to be Montas, Benintendi, Efros, Trevino from worst to best.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed just because like I like to argue. That's my exact list. Montas at the bottom. I mean, listen, I was expecting a lot more from him. I know it's only been like 3 starts, but he hasn't really looked like that solidified number 2 that we thought we were gonna get. Especially like, when we thought we were gonna get like maybe like a Luis Castillo or something. I was like, yo, Montas isn't a bad fit. But he's been a bad fit so far. Let's just be honest. And then looking at Andrew Benintendi, he hasn't been horrible, but it's like we were expecting a little bit more. I know the home run today was nice to see, but he hasn't really been like the definition of like offensive consistency for the Yankees, especially like with what we were expecting. Like we were expecting like one of the best contact hitters in the game, right? Haven't really gotten that. And then Efros has been solid. I think he only had like 1 rough outing, but he's been solid. And then Lou Trevino's got to be number 1. Dude, he's been insane, especially after seeing what he did yesterday. At this point, dude, carved up the Blue Jays like it was nobody's business in a game that we didn't even know if we were gonna win, bro. Trevino is my number 1.
And dude, shout out to Efros too, because I forget which game it was. I guess it was maybe the Tampa Bay game, but he has proven that he can. Both of them have proven they can be late inning options for the Yankees, which is huge, especially for a team that lost Michael King. Loaisiga has struggled, didn't look too good on Sunday. He's been actually kind of on the upwards trend a little bit as of late. But yeah, if we're gonna go anywhere, like those 2 are gonna have to be good, and so far they definitely have been. I think looking at this list now, I feel like it's kind of indisputable that that's the way to go. Montas, Benintendi, Efros, Trevino.
I feel like it's the only way to go. Like, especially after like seeing what happened on Sunday, with like Trevino dominating. Like, I feel like that was kind of like the nail in the coffin.
Do you think the list will look different? We'll do it again end of the season. Think it'll look different when we rank them again?
I like that. I like that question a lot. Now are we talking before or after postseason?
I guess we should wait till after.
After, I'm gonna say 1000%.
Yeah.
I'd be shocked if this stays the same after the postseason.
I think Montas will be number 1. That's my hot take.
Really? That's a hot take.
We'll revisit it. But yeah, Montas is gonna be number 1.
You know what? No, this is a topic for another day. I'm not gonna get into it. But yo, Dan, we kind of want to like wrap up each one of these shows with like a little bit of like a lighthearted, maybe like a debate topic. Paul O'Neill got his number retired by the Yankees on Sunday. I have my feelings about this. I'll save it until I hear yours. What are your thoughts on, I guess, not only like Paul O'Neill's number being retired, but also like the Yankees' abundance of jersey retirements in general?
Yeah, it's to me, it's I hear everybody and I hear you who says the Yankee retire too many numbers. Like I don't dispute that. The main one that sticks out to me isn't Paul O'Neill. It's I think we could both agree Reggie Jackson. At the
Oh
time,
yeah,
I
yeah.
would not have retired his number, and so much so now to where like if they unretired his number, especially because he's like a member of the Houston Astros
They would
organization
never
now,
do that though.
total trader. I know they wouldn't. I would be pumped if they did though.
So would I.
I could understand a case against O'Neill just because, like, the actual, career numbers as a Yankee 9 years, 303, 377, 492 slash line, 185 homers, 869 OPS. Like, those are really solid. I could understand somebody
Sure.
saying they're not number retired worthy. But what are the Yankees all about? October success, winning World Series, 4 World Series titles, and he was a big part of that. I'm pretty cool with them retiring 21, especially when you consider the fact anybody who wore the number was not appreciated. Like, who was the guy, that reliever that wore 21 and they got like
LaTroy
booed off the field?
Hawkins. Bro,
LaTroy
but that's the
Hawkins.
fans' fault. Like that's Yankees
Well,
fans'
in
fault,
the end, that's what
bro.
it's all about. It's like it's for the fans ultimately.
Screw no, 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 no. I don't care about the fans, bro. I'm looking at this with my perspective, right? I'm looking at
Which
like
you are a fan, so keep that in mind, bro.
that's what you want to call it. So like you look at like Monument Park, like dude, I think there's a major difference between a plaque and a number retirement. Huge difference. Now, if you want to take the number 21 out of circulation for Paul O'Neill, I view that as wrong, bro. Especially like you look at like Paul O'Neill is essentially in the same class, and I know there's levels to it, but it's like he's in the same class as guys like Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, Derek Jeter, Joe
See,
DiMaggio,
I don't see it
in
like
the
that. I
sense of
don't
like
see it like
no
that.
one else can wear their number. Bro, is Paul O'Neill like
But
that in, and don't get me wrong, I like Paul O'Neill, but I don't think that he's that insane of a Yankee legend where no one should be wearing his number ever again.
I'll hear what you're saying depending on what your answer is to this question. How do you feel about like Jorge or Andy, especially Jorge? Like, I think it's all kind of in that same way. Like
No,
Bernie
I
Williams, I think it all comes down to the fact, like, if Paul didn't win 4 rings, hell, if he only won say like 2, I don't think there's any chance his number gets retired. 4 rings though, and being a huge part of like the most popular dynasty in sports history, for the most
it
popular
just feels
sports
like
franchise in the
overkill.
world. I don't know. I think it's fine with me. I'm not saying like I would be like the huge biggest advocate for it to get done, but like now that it's happened, seeing 21 out there, I'm like I respect that. Like I'm
You know
cool with
why
it.
I'm mad? You know why I'm mad about it? Because I
Why?
look at the number 13, bro. I look at
See,
A-Rod's number, which
I my
deserves to be retired
real
so
quick,
much more than Paul O'Neill, bro. And
real
it's still
quick.
out there.
I I would love to see A-Rod's number 13 retired. That'd be awesome. What I think they should actually consider doing is, all right, you clearly don't want to retire 13. They made that clear giving out to Gallo last year. They even said at the time, like somebody just had to ask for it, would have given it to him a while ago. What they can do is I would be down for the Monument Park plaque treatment, no retired number for A-Rod. I think he deserves something simply because of '09. One of the greatest postseason performances of all time. That deserves to be
Yes.
honored in some way. And that's literally like I could write the description on the plaque for you. That's all it really has to be about. 2009. Just list his slash line, list the record number of game tying homers in the 7th inning or later. I think he had the RBI record in the postseason for a while. Dude, A-Rod's got to
I
get
know, but
some sort
bro,
of recognition in Yankee
like
Stadium.
I'm just being honest. Like I look at A-Rod, I view him much more as a Yankee legend than guys like, dude, people are gonna hate me for this more than guys like Reggie Jackson or guys
Okay,
like Paul O'Neill. I just do.
right, but we also have to be fair. We watched A-Rod. We didn't
Okay,
watch Paul
sure.
O'Neill.
No, no, no,
No,
sure.
but here's the thing. You talk to anybody, and we got to wrap up the show. We talk to anybody who watched Paul O'Neill, obsessed with him. And you talk to anybody who watched Paul O'Neill, they absolutely would want 21
Okay,
retired. I almost
last
guarantee
thing.
that.
Last
Yeah.
thing, bro. My last concern when it comes to like all these jersey retirements is where does it end, right? Because right now there's 2 other ones that are out of circulation, CC and Gardner.
I was going to say, it's not going to continue with Gardner. I promise you that. CC will and rightfully should be retired.
Okay, I wouldn't mind CC, but bro, if Brett Gardner gets his number retired, I'm leaving.
To be
I'm
honest, I
gone.
don't even think Gardner. I love Gardner. I know for those who aren't familiar with Pat, he hates him, despises him. Gardner's not a monument, or he's not even a Monument Park guy for me. He's not a number retire. He's not a Monument Park guy. He's a guy that comes back at Old Timers Day, be
He'll
like,
get a
hey, he was a
plaque.
great Yankee. Appreciate him. I don't think he deserves a plaque. I
I
mean, I
swear to
understand he's
God.
like,
No,
I
I
think
don't
he's
think
like
so
top
either.
like 15 in like Yankee WAR, but that's like a longevity bonus thing. I don't know. We got to wrap up the show.
But with that being said, that's going to wrap things up for the first ever episode of the Yankees Avenue Show on the Yankees Avenue YouTube channel. I'm Patrick
I
Hennessy.
love the sound of
That's
that,
Dan
man.
Rourke. I think it went amazing. Dan, what do you say? Be sure to like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah, I
Leave
was
us a
like, drop
comment.
a like on the video. And what'd you say?
Leave us a comment. Let us know how you like the
Oh
first
yeah, leave us a
episode.
comment. Any constructive criticism, of course. First episode, so like, I mean, maybe it was rocky. I don't think it really was at all, but it'll get better and better as we go along. Mondays and Fridays, 10 a.m. every single week. You can expect it in your subscription box. Drop a like, drop a comment. That's my dog, Pat Hennessy. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Let's go, Yankees.
Peace.